Welcome to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Okay, and we're here to tell you about
Jumped in on that one.
what rules, regulations, and ordinances are being passed by council members and by commissions and so forth in Addison, Oxford,
Right.
and all over.
And these are all decisions that directly affect you if you live in those townships or villages.
Yep, and we add a little bit of humor to it. Oh, a little
Aha.
bit of humor. Okay, let's get on with it. Let's talk about the Pollyant Trail.
Let's go.
Okay, well, you were there, kinda.
Yeah.
Ed Brakefield is the chair for that, right?
Yes, he is.
And he does a pretty good job, I think.
He does a pretty good job, yes.
Now, I know that they were talking about money and where they were going to get their next dollar was part of it.
They were on the, someone actually said they might have been on the verge of selling pencils.
I don't think it's quite that bad yet, but, you know, it could get that way.
Yeah.
They, of course, covered the bills, which was about $4,000 roughly in bills that they had.
Just a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what the source of their income is?
Yes. As a matter of fact, funny you should ask. They get, it's broken down actually into a percentage. Part of it comes in on grants.
Okay.
And the biggest problem they've had, of course, since there's been no manager for some time who has pursued grants, is they've virtually disappeared. The person who used to be the manager at one time, the Pollyant Trail manager, is Lois Golden. And am I right?
A couple of iterations ago, yes.
Okay. And anyway, she understands grants, and she understands the critical nature of them.
Right.
And there's a number of those grants that she's pursuing. There is a grant out there for vertical cut, which is, you know, to get rid of the weeds and that kind of thing. So you don't have little critters, you know, taking over the pathway.
Also known as mowing? No.
Also known as mowing, but that's kind of a technical term.
I see.
So we'll go on with this. And there's a grant also available for parking lot. Now, Pollyant Trail, they don't really have a lot of parking lot areas.
No, that's always been an issue with them, about people parking illegally in certain areas of the townships and villages.
And for some strange reason, they don't like to have cars parked on the trail. Right?
Not much.
Not at all, I can tell you. So those kind of grants are things that she's pursuing, and hopefully she can increase the revenue coming in, you know, to Pollyant.
Well,
There's
she's,
also
she's
donations.
proven herself very capable in the past, and I'm sure she's going to do a good job. However, and also, like you said, or may have said, she is the interim manager while they still are searching for a new manager.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, while that process is going on, she has agreed on basically a month-to-month basis to stay on.
Yeah, she said, if you need me, I'll stay. And by
That
the
too.
way, and by the way, they are in the process. They have 20 people that have applied for the manager's job. Now, do know it's a subcontract type job, where it's
Or a
no-
contractor.
or a contractor. It could be considered a subcontractor or a contractor, or however you want to.
Well-
Anyway, that's what it is.
Okay, then.
So they're going to be like their own little business. They'll have to take care of their own medical, their own unemployment if they have a problem,
All right.
that kind of thing. So, but interesting, they did get 20 applications.
Right, and really, of course, I think there's a personnel committee,
There's a subcommittee.
and I think they are committed to reducing that number to a more workable one that will involve the people submitting their resume and coming in and being interviewed at some later date.
Like what kind of workable number?
I don't know.
3.
4 or 5, I don't know.
No, it's 3.
Is it 3?
Yep, they want to bring it down to 3. And they're saying that they will probably be ready to interview the last 3, perhaps in the next meeting or at least mid next month.
Right, and there's also the option, of course, of calling a special meeting to do specifically that if it looks like their agenda is going to just be,
They did talk
Too
about
huge.
that, having a special meeting, and most of them were objecting to it. They feel that if they handle it at the front end of their standard business meeting, it would take care of it.
you mean they'd have to be dragged into the special meeting?
They would have to be dragged. Actually, there were a few that supported the
Yeah, yeah.
special meeting
Well,
concept.
And once again, it really depends on what they see as the potential length of the meeting, given the normal things that are on the agenda.
The other thing is, for some reason, maybe the board wouldn't like the three that were presented by, the committee.
And that's why the resumes will be submitted before that.
So you may want to withdraw your resume, before you reach that stage.
Another job.
Okay. Anyway, Mark Thurman is the treasurer, and he pointed out that they had $24,000 in their account that they could work with, which is not a whole lot of money,
No.
for that type of an organization, as large as they are. After the bills were paid, they have roughly $22,500 left. So it's getting to be a critical situation in terms of finances.
And nothing definite in the pipeline.
And they're looking for donations, by the way. So anybody who's got extra cash they don't know what to do with, Pollyant Trail would be a great place to invest your money. They, by the way, their donations are accepted under 5013C. So if you're a really big corporation and you want to support this, I'm just suggesting.
Well,
I'm not pushing, but-
I know when the trail came into existence, I forget what the guy's name was. That was really the shaker and mover behind all that. I think Chrysler weighed in extremely heavily to get that whole thing rolling. So what you need are more corporate customers or corporate sponsors to come in and get that tax break by giving to this 501c3.
Well, there's some question too as to how their bill should be handled. Before, with the other manager that they had, she would approve everything, and it went through 2 or 3 different steps before it ended up with
True.
the treasurer and with
And like
Joe
the
Young,
game,
who
and,
does the recording.
right, and like the game of secret, that many steps sometimes involves inaccuracy from the start to the finish.
Right. So the suggestion now is that there are 2 copies sent, one to the treasurer and one to Joe Young. Joe Young not to act on it until he gets.
Are you saying Joe Young or Joe Ferrari?
Oh, Joe Ferrari. I said Joe Young. Anyway, I mentioned Joe Young because
Joe Young has enough stuff on his table.
he does. And I think that he did present somewhere along the line some information as far as budgetary information, but it was with the NOTA group.
Okay.
But, okay, so I got a few of them mixed up here. It's going to happen. Okay.
That's why I'm here.
I was wondering why.
Keep you on a straight and narrow.
Right. They're going to be putting stop signs up, by the way, if I can stop you now. There's going to be roughly 17 stop signs between Leonard and Oxford.
Is that for the people that are on the trail or for vehicles?
No, for people on the trail,
Okay.
to keep people on the trail from getting run over. I think that's what it is.
Going along. Stop.
Right. Well, Mike McDonald and Leonard is going to hit up that part of it.
Okay.
But, we'll get back in just a minute. We'll be back. Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols, and
I'm Dave Kenny.
we were just discussing the Pollyant Trail Management meeting that they had, the council. And one last thing before we move on to the next one. They're going to mow some grass.
Yo!
So they agreed.
And they're not going to use scythes.
Right. Exactly. Sunrise Lawn Services does their mowing for them.
Okay.
And they've said they agreed to have them mow, guess what? 14 miles of cut. And it runs roughly about $1,000 to have that done. So they'll be mowing the last cut before the snow falls.
Well, of course, that's not using my little mower that I have at home, but more commercial products.
You would probably go through 5 or 6 of those little lawnmowers, maybe even
14
more.
miles.
You-
And that's a wide path. We're not just talking one stroke here.
I said you would. I think your wife would go through that many.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's go on to the next
You
meeting.
didn't mean that, Elaine.
Yes, he did. The next meeting we're going to talk about is the North Oakland Transportation Authority, known as NOTA.
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 That's another one of those floating meetings.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, they meet at a different location every single time they meet,
Okay,
rotating through all of the representative communities.
right. They want everybody to get a chance.
Yep.
In other words, if they're going to use electricity in Addison, next time they're going to use electricity in Oxford.
Oh,
Whatever it takes to make it work. The chairperson is Bruce Pearson, and again, he does a great job. Uh, They gave a report where, actually, I'm trying to think of who their um, manager is, or their
Gustafson.
director. Yeah, Lynn Gustafson.
Yeah.
Lynn,
Yes.
okay. Anyway, she gave a report, and she said that the business for Nota is down 13%, and that's due to the revision somewhat, and people being notified that they will have to find other resources, you know,
Business,
for
in this
travel.
particular case, not referring
Travelers.
to monetary income, but to the number of riders.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Boy, you caught on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
They, their service area is going to be effective, the change in October 1st, which is coming up,
Oh, yeah, they're going to reduce it considerably, aren't
about
they?
half the territory.
Taking out Macomb or something like that?
Yes. The other thing.
Or the area near Macomb?
The area near Macomb. But the other thing is that there will be some savings involved because the vehicles aren't going to get beat up as badly. I mean, they go down some pretty bad roads.
So as they withdraw from that territory, does that leave the territory they withdrew from a no man's land for that kind of
Right.
service?
They have given them an opportunity and notification to all those people that they would have to find another resource, you know, to take it on because it's not financially feasible, you know, for
But I know NODA
NODA.
has partnered with SMART on occasion,
all the time.
so maybe
Yep.
that would be an answer.
But here's the deal. Once, there's more. Once they
I
get,
have to watch when you deal.
right, once they get back into this area and they don't service the outlying area, they will have more traffic with their vehicles because they'll make shorter runs.
The vehicle will be more available in a higher density
Yep.
population.
And so therefore, the people within the zone and where they will be serviced will get even better service.
Good.
So, good deal.
A pro and a con.
Right. They're gonna have to find another place to reside.
What?
You didn't know that?
Well, I know that there was a business person that was pretty much renting that building that they're in for about $1 a year or something
Well,
like that.
no. $1,000 is the rent. But there's no
year?
A year. But there's no
Not bad,
contract.
I'd pay that.
But there's no contract with them either. They tried to find a contract. The gentleman has been very good to them. I don't know where they'd find the kind of space they have with the parking area and everything, you know, for that kind of money.
And unfortunately, in a court of law, if it isn't on paper, it doesn't exist.
Oh, okay. No, that's true. And he doesn't have a copy either, the landlord. But he said, you know, it'd be nice if you could find another spot. And he's even trying to help them find a spot.
Well, that's wonderful. They used to be at the location out on Drainer Road by Crossroads for Youth.
Yeah, that was way out on a gravel road.
Right, right. But
When it rained, the building moved from side,
Oh, come on.
maybe not, but it wasn't
Wasn't
really
a
the best
lean-to,
place to
for
be.
God's sake.
But that was pretty rough on the vehicles out there.
Well, I'm sure it was, yeah.
Yeah.
At least going uphill.
Well,
Going
when,
downhill, they didn't have to start the engine until they got down by the golf course.
well, when it was raining, I mean, it was probably easy to go downhill. But other than that, they're looking to centralize in Oxford. They really don't
Good.
want to move away from their centralization.
But they have several vehicles that need to be maintained and all that kind of thing that happens to them as they grow older. And they have to have a dispatch area, they have to have a manager's office. It's not an insignificant little business.
No, it's not. Except, again, they have a very tight budget. Although their audit report that came in was great. They didn't have any problem with that. I kind of give that to Lynn Gustafson.
Well,
into
she used to
handling
be the
that.
accountant.
Yeah, well, she knows her stuff on this. There's no question about it. And you're probably wondering how NODA, you know, gets their money. They have a budget per year of $205,000, which comes from communities. And the formula works like this. It's based on half the ridership from various locations and half the population is what it's calculated on. For example, Addison Township would pay $16,299, while Oxford would pay $83,725.
Now, the portion based on population would be static more or less, but the other part, based on ridership, would fluctuate from year to year.
Right. Well, here, Addison would pay, for example, 104,000. So that's
Yeah.
where it comes out to 205,000 roughly. So it's based on a pretty good formula for
Okay.
everybody,
Yeah.
and that's the way it works.
And they all agree to it.
They all agree to it.
That's the main thing.
Yep. They do need more money again. But,
Don't we all?
but they'll work on that one. The funding this year was the same as it was last year, so there's not a big increase in terms of what communities are pitching in on this thing.
Any
There-
new vehicles or anything in?
They just
like that
had a
in the
new one
pipeline?
put in not long ago.
Plus, they have that agreement with Smart.
Right.
Yeah.
They did have an accident also, where one of their drivers was hurt, a
Oh, no.
lady. And she's on leave right now. And it had something to do with procedures. The procedure she was using was one that she learned at the school system. She used to drive for the school. And you put the emergency brake on before you, to protect yourself from going in a drive or something. And she did that, and you can't do that with these trucks. So it caused her to get in an accident. And how? I don't know exactly how, but that's
She
what
put
it
the
is.
emergency brake on when
Mhm.
she came to a stop to
Apparently
do,
that's what she did.
to do a service?
Apparently
And
that's what she
that's
did.
what you can't do?
Right.
Wow.
So they've been trained again, you
Okay.
know, all the people on what not to do, so they
Yeah.
don't have this problem again.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
What
But
cause?
all in all, I think, you know, NODA does a great job.
Oh, yeah, there's a
and-
lot of people that depend on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on this board too, and they're pretty smart people.
Yep.
And they do like to cut trees out of the way and so forth, and they
There's a
do,
lot of people on that board.
yeah.
How many
There-
people are on that board?
Oh, I want to say 9 maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, am I right? No, there's Bill saying yes.
And it's not
shaking his
just,
head.
just not the communities, there's other
Yep.
organizations that are represented, I believe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that being said, we'll be back in just a moment. Hey, how many communities do you think are? Welcome back to Minutes by Minute. I'm Elgin Nichols,
And
and
I'm Dave Kennedy.
and we're just discussing right now the Village Council, which they had a meeting on the 24th. And there are a number of areas that were covered. They had a resignation from the existing board of DDA, and that's Jim Balick, Tom Jones, and Anna Taylor.
And those are all really good people.
Yep. And Anna, you know, all these people were asked to, you know, stay by Bill Dunn, but all of them declined. And it came before the council because it has to be official. Council accepted them on the board, and they're the only ones that can actually release them. So, and that was approved and agreed upon. Personally, I'm disappointed in the fact that that happened because I think better things are coming. I mean, they will have money coming down the line here. They've already started to accumulate some money. By the end of next year, they'll probably have over 100,000 or so. you
Just
know.
when the light was visible at the other end of the tunnel.
Right, and you need experienced people to, I mean, if they've gone through this one time, their experience would be, I think, quite beneficial, but that's not the way it's gonna operate. And we do have some candidates that have applied, you know, for the DDA.
And I also understand that due to having no executive director, that Joe Young has stepped in.
Yep, well, actually, the DDA board existing made the recommendation that Joe Young be appointed a temporary director. And that came before the council, and it was approved.
Good.
Joe's
Joe's a good guy. He's got a lot on his table, though.
Well, here's a stipulation down the line. They will have the monies available for a part-time director by January of this coming year. And also, the suggestion was that Joe actually needs help in the office. I mean, they've lost 2 people in terms of support for the office administrative part of it.
So it could be
And
a
they're
shared
asking-
responsibility with a part-time
Well,
person.
probably not, because a part-time person on DDA would be one that would be in the marketing part of the business and promotional, you know, that type of a person. Not to be an administrative person
Okay.
necessarily. Anyway, that's a discussion I've had, you know, Joe and some other people.
So he's looking for another head?
He's looking for another person to assist Susan, who's being snowed under
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of the work she's got. So we'll address that issue again.
And Sue's doing a bang-up job.
She is doing an excellent job, and I was one of the few people that probably told her I was glad she
Good
lost
work,
the
Sue.
election. Yeah, right. They also brought rental agreement, 98 Glassby Street for boat storage from Oakland Mobile Marine.
Is that old black building down the street?
Glassby, yep, used to be a
okay.
manufacturing business at one
Yep.
time. Anyway, it has about 40,000 square feet in there, roughly, and they're using 20,000 square feet, and last year they paid roughly $1,700, which if you calculate that per square foot and how much space they're taking up for boats, it's roughly about less than 30 cents a square foot.
That's true.
Which is a killer price, you know. So suggestion was, and they're gonna
It's
go
not like
back,
it's a
it was
family of
tabled.
12 or
Yeah,
something.
it was tabled, but the recommendation of Joe was that right now, village people pay $250 to store their boat, non-village people pay $500. The point was that at $250, that's still a super deal for the residents, and so to raise it to $350, because average boat storage is $500 minimum, no matter where you take it.
So fair is
So-
fair.
Fair is fair, and that way the village will get more money and help subsidize, you know, what they're losing right now. So they're gonna bring back another proposal, it was tabled. Rail inspection ordinance, that was tabled also. That's where
Oh, that's been in and out.
it's been in and out. I'm personally opposed to it. I've checked with other communities and they've, inspectors have run asunder.
Asunder?
Asunder. They have taken upon themselves to not leave a premises until they found problems, which generates additional expense to the property owner, and it has run rampant in some towns. They start with this premise that they're gonna have everybody register, and you know yourself that people aren't gonna register they're dishonest. Only the honest
Right.
people are gonna be, you know, persecuted in this situation and pay
Persecuted or
tickets.
prosecuted?
persecuted and prosecuted, because you can look at it both ways.
Okay.
They're at the door, I'm here to inspect, persecuted. So, anyway, so that was tabled for more discussion. They have an engagement letter for litigation for the consulting services of Kerry Heiser, and he is
She was the grant writer.
No,
wasn't-
he,
no,
he is a grant writer, or Carl, I'm sorry, I said Kerry? Carl.
Oh,
And he is he's not the grant writer, he's the
The, forensic auditor.
auditor. And we're at the point right now in the pad trial that they need professional testimony, you know, in the trial. And people that do that kind of thing get paid for it, and so it was approved.
and this is the trial where she is suing the township.
That's right, and we're
Okay.
defending, you
Okay.
know, the township, or the village, I mean.
All right.
Not the township.
Or the village,
Yep,
correct.
okay. Second reading of the adoption of the sign ordinance, which took them 3 years to get, guess what? Slap me 5, they did it. Okay, so it's
How-
approved, the new
however-
signage is in.
However, there
However-
was a dissenting voice, wasn't there?
There was, but that didn't last long.
Well, didn't Chris Bishop get
Yep.
up and say that it should be
He did,
dipped in
scrap and
wrung
start
out
over.
again?
He said, no way, Chris, please sit down.
Was he being humorous or was he serious?
Oh, he was serious.
Oh, God.
But that's okay, we were serious too. We passed it, got it through, it's
Okay.
done. So that issue is finished. Request to sell a police vehicle. The police chief wants to sell this 2004 vehicle.
Sure.
Not a problem, it's got 114,000 miles. If you need a car, put in a bid on it, it's gonna be in the newspaper. Well, that being said, that covers pretty much everything. What's coming up?
Okay,
Quick.
we do have several meetings. On 10-1 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. On 10-2 at 6:30, the Oxford Township Planning Commission Economic Development Subcommittee, but check to see if they're really going to have that meeting. And on 10-3 at 7:30, the Addison Township Park Committee. And on 10-8, a passel of meetings. 7 o'clock, the Oxford Township Parks and Rec. At 6:30, the Village of Oxford Council. And 7:30, the Addison Township Planning Commission.
I'm Elgin Nichols,
And I'm Dave Kenny.
and thanks for joining us. Catch us the next time on Minutes by Minute.
At Oakland County Parks and Recreation, we value what you value: family relationships, community connections, good health, environmental stewardship, and economic stability. Oakland County residents and businesses have invested in preserving nearly 7,000 acres of parkland. Since 1966, 13 parks and golf courses have been acquired, maintained, and improved. Oakland County parks and facilities are made possible by millage funds supported by Oakland County residents. For a home valued at $200,000, the homeowner pays less than $25 per year to support the Oakland County parks. With every generation, families create lifelong memories at Oakland County's award-winning parks. From exciting summer escapades and stories around the campfire to brisk fall walks on wooded trails and snowy winter outings, the outdoors beckons year-round. It's time to get up, get out, and get going at the Oakland County parks. Active recreation options abound. Cross-country ski or mountain bike on tree-lined trails. Scale the rock climbing wall. Get your kicks with soccer at several sports fields. Row or paddle a boat on 4 picturesque inland lakes. It's an easy journey. Most parks are just a short drive away. A quick tip: all our parks and golf courses end in Oaks. To find your favorite, just go to destinationoakland.com. Click to pick Oceans of Motion water parks at Red Oaks and Waterford Oaks, the Wint Nature Center at Independence Oaks, Teen Adventures, and even entertainment to go. When outdoor adventures on your list, there's fishing, beaches, boating, playgrounds, and seasonal hunting. The campgrounds at Addison Oaks and Groveland Oaks feel like being up north with plenty of recreation options. Want to get fit? Hit the trails. Oakland County Parks boasts more than 68 miles for strolling, walking, hiking and running, biking, or horseback riding. If the links are your lure, 5 golf courses, including Premier Course Lion Oaks, are conveniently located. Make Glen Oaks or White Lake Oaks your home course. Get an up-north feel at Springfield Oaks, or play a quick 9 at Red Oaks. Our recreation lineup rocks. Learn to swim. Experience an outdoor adventures camp. Take the fast track at BMX, or gain new lifelong skills. Everyone's included. Individuals with disabilities participate in dozens of adaptive opportunities, including a new fully accessible playscape, modified golf carts, and annual events. There's always something special going on at Oakland County Parks, whether it's a classic car show, the Oakland County Fair, a senior golf tournament, or the Ellis Barn Festival. Being green is an everyday practice with nature interpretive programs, wildlife habitat protection, reduction of invasive species, and stormwater management. Your responses to surveys indicate that you want more trails. The Oakland Trails Advisory Council was established to coordinate trail systems and seek grant sources for future trail construction. You also said that maintaining and refurbishing existing facilities is a high priority, as well as continuing exceptional quality service standards. Oakland County Parks serves an increasingly diverse population of all abilities, ages, interests, ethnic backgrounds, and cultures. The needs of lifelong residents, as well as newcomers, are carefully considered when planning parks and programs. Oakland County Parks and Recreation pledges to create community by providing places to meet, play, and learn. Observe environmental responsibility with natural resources stewardship, and enhance fiscal sustainability based on a business model of effective and efficient operation.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television,